Hello, my random viewers, and welcome to Randomly Offensive. Today, we will be continuing the story of genetic blessings in Genetic Wars. Now, I, at this point in time, have no idea if it's going to be as long as Genetic Blessings, or shorter than Genetic Blessings, or longer than Genetic Blessings, but I do have a script and many ideas for quite a few episodes. I may not know exactly where certain things are gonna play out in what episodes and when those particular things will play out, but I have a solid script for this video, and I figured might as well do it. Might as well get it going, because I have a hard script for everything else. So let's just get it started, because I feel like I'd start missing Genetic Blessings if I did not continue doing it, and so I'm going to continue doing it in the form of Genetic Wars. So, we will be continuing the story of Genetic Wars, and if you missed Genetic Blessings, this will not make any sense to you, and I have a playlist right here, right now, at the tippy top of this video, and it is the playlist of all Genetic Blessing chapters and parts. So, without further ado, let's continue Genetic Wars. It's gonna be a while before I get out of that habit. Genetic Wars, Chapter 1. 7 years ago, Vince had destroyed the White House. 7 years ago, Vince had displayed himself on every TV and computer screen in the entire world, declaring war on all of humanity against the genetic blessings, and he caused terror and fright to spread as if it were a plague throughout all of humanity worldwide, as many genetic blessings did not take Vince's call to war and tried to continue hiding, tried to continue living underground, and those who were active stayed underground, stayed in the shadows, and the others who dedicated their lives to being hidden and lived among the humans peacefully tried to continue living their daily life, though the governments throughout the world quickly managed to obtain the help from all GBA units in order to track and find every single genetic blessing, as they started by putting them in camps and in prison and trying to separate them from humanity in their own congregations, giving them little to no freedom and hardly enough food to feed themselves, as the anger and the unfairness began to build in many of the genetic blessings who had not taken the call from Vince, had then begun to fight back and had then begun taking advantage of their godlike abilities to begin fighting back. And so the war that Vince had predicted had finally come to play, as genetic blessings and humanity began fighting each other, though unlike any other war, the enemies of the human race were living amongst them and had not collected their own agencies, had not collected their own land or their own cities or their own countries, but instead were having to fight amongst themselves and having to fight those who had already began repopulating and already founded lives in their own countries and in their own cities. And though the war between genetic blessings and humanity allied all humans and allied every country temporarily, the world began spinning the way it had for thousands of years, with countries breaking off alliances and going back to the way things used to be, with one exception, with the exception that they would continue fighting the genetic blessings, and the only time they would ever ally is when they needed to eradicate a large group of genetic blessings, and when a large group of genetic blessings was found, they would have a temporary truce. And this design, this play, was crippling every country in the world as it plummeted their economy, and it plummeted the social status quo of everyone. And for so many years of this war being plain, it was clear that humanity was not going to be able to do this for much longer, and it has become clear that there may not be a clear victor in this war, with, unbeknownst to them, Al, who climbed the ranks and became a great leader on the human side, was consistently providing information to Vince, who was the leader of all genetic blessings fighting back, and he too would relay information to Al, enforcing that this war will end in a stalemate, which of course was the plan from Vince from the beginning, as he assigned Alex, Howard, Abraham, and Zorg to their own unit, where their main job was to ensure that humanity and genetic blessings began the coexistence before the war was over. And though the plan has been working so well, and it is about to come to fruition, the Guardian, Dracula, has been watching patiently. However, his patience has been growing thin throughout the 7 years, as the Guardian is beginning to realize that Vince had played the perfect card and has engaged in the perfect plan to ensure that humanity and genetic blessings do coexist. The Guardian begins grinding his teeth and begins to become furious at the mere fact that Vince only wants a coexistent world instead of a better world. A better world without the corruptiveness of the human race. And as the Guardian sits in his golden white temple on his throne, he begins rubbing his forehead in frustration, as he knows that he is going to be forced to do what a Guardian is not allowed to do. He is going to be forced to get fully involved in order to stop this coexistence, in order to stop this pathetic, embarrassing play. And if the time comes, he will be forced to obtain and hold the God Orb once again, as he continues rubbing his head. Vince, I knew you were one of us, though I didn't realize you would be the other one out there. I am afraid I'm going to have to betray my own kind, says the Guardian. And so our story begins with Alex, who now resides at a coffee shop that Vince had completely bought out for her, and employed one barista so that she can have her endless supply of frappuccinos and espressos while she's hard at work. And Alex has hoarded and filled the coffee shop with a countless amount of computer towers, laptops, and monitors. As Alex sits at her large desk, watching all the monitors while sipping on a freshly made espresso, she inserts an earpiece in her right ear. Alrighty. Abraham, Howard, Zorg, Walter, are we ready? Says Alex, while shortly being responded to by Abraham. Indeed we are, Alex. We are sitting here in, well, an abandoned coffee shop. Tell me, did your old man buy you another one? No, not really, but we have managed to rent it out for now, responds Alex. We have a target, and this coffee shop was the closest thing to that target. And I'm assuming that one of you guys took the time to read the files I gave you. Well, not necessarily. I've been a little busy polishing my gun and polishing other things that I don't want to talk about right at the moment, says Howard, with Zorg just sitting on the ground, playing with his finger on a cracked piece of floorboard, with Walter, who is the newest companion and the newest recruit, just sits listening, being quiet, for he's never been one to talk. And though Alex and Walter has found a liking to one another, Alex cannot get past how much the man resembles Vince, though his appearance far outweighs any appearance of any other man, as his natural human body is already nearly the size of Zorg's, and his strength may actually match that, and that is without even considering his own genetic blessing, with Abraham quickly responding to Alex, snapping Alex out of her thoughts. Alrighty, yes, I read the files. No one else may have, but I did, young lady. We will be infiltrating the Quirinal Palace, home of the Italian president, Sercian Mascigal. So, it is not going to be easy to infiltrate such a place, and it is not going to be easy to confront such a powerful man, especially with the world being prepped for genetic blessings like ourselves. So, do you honestly have a good plan? Have you ensured that we're going to make it out alive? Of course I have, Abraham, responds Alex. When you guys infiltrate the Quirinal Palace, you're going to listen to every word I tell you. And confronting the president is the only reason, though we're not going to harm him nor kill him, but only persuade him, which is why we need Walter. Continues Alex, with Howard loading his guns and putting them in the holster. Alrighty, so we are going to infiltrate a squirrel and kill or persuade the salad of margaritas, says Howard, with Alex getting frustrated. That is not at all what I said. That is not how you pronounce it, and you know that. Didn't ask, don't care, kid. That's how I'm gonna pronounce it. Now, let's go confront President Salad, says Howard, with Abraham grabbing the fedora off of the table and gently, neatly putting it on his head, fixing the rim of the hat, while then fixing his mustache and standing up as he tucks on his tie, begins walking out the front doors of the coffee shop, with Howard, Walter, and Zorg walking behind him. Well, there it is. Right across the street here is the Squirrel Palace, says Howard, with Walter staring at him annoyingly out of the corner of his eyes, as he obviously finds Howard's antics immature and most of the time annoying, Abraham just smirks. Yes, there is the Coronal Palace. Not ever in my life did I think I would be infiltrating such a place. So, Alex, what is the plan? We stand quite literally only a few feet from the gates. Well, the plan's simple, says Alex. The first guy we're going to send in is Zorg. With the way the military, with the way the soldiers and the guards are lined up, they are already designed to fail due to a big guy like Zorg. And with Walter being attached to Zorg like he normally is, he can use his gunmanship and his skills to take out the majority of the soldiers. Abraham, you are a very powerful genetic blessing. I need you to use that to your advantage. You need to create a ring of flames, a ring of fire around you guys, bright enough and hot enough so that anyone that looks at you guys will be blinded. So, Zorg, just run forward and close your eyes, says Alex, with Abraham having one finger on the earpiece. Alright, sounds like a fair plan, but where does Walter play into this? Walter will do what he always does after you confront the president, says Alex, with Abraham nodding his head. Very well, young lady. Let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Alright, big man. Let's go ahead and do what we do best, says Howard as he pats Zorg on the back and hops on Zorg's shoulders, with Zorg then charging through the gates like an unstoppable tank as he runs through the gates with the metal shattering and bending as one of the hinges of the gate flies off, getting the attention of every single guard upon the outside of the Coral Palace, with Howard then pulling out both his revolvers as Zorg runs through the main path, with the bullets being shot from the guards bouncing off of him. Howard is perfectly shielded as he begins firing at every single guard with each one of his pistols, as he doesn't miss a single shot, with each bullet hitting every single guard that he aims for. And Howard then ducks his head beneath the shoulders of Zorg as Zorg flies through the main doors of the Coral, and Abraham, running behind them, quickly ignites flames from his hands and creates a large ring around the entrance, bright enough to where no guard can look in the direction, for it is far too bright, while Walter just stands at the outside of the gates as he sits down calmly on the ground, with Alex switching her headphone to only Walter's line. Okay, Walter. Now, I need you to listen to me, okay? Says Alex, with Walter nodding his head, for he knows that Alex is watching them through the monitor. Now, you cannot use your genetic blessing today. If you do, everything will go wrong. And I need you to do what you do best, but make sure that your skills are being used to their full potential, because if we mess this up, if this doesn't work, then everything from this point on will have to be thrown away. All the work we've done, everything we've done this past 7 years, Walter, will mean nothing without today. Do you understand me? Says Alex as she clutches her Frappuccino, nearly breaking the glass, with Walter again just nodding his head and pulling the earpiece out and crushing it with his fingers. He stands up and stares at the Coral Palace. Alrighty, Alex, we are inside. So, Now what do we do? What is the plan now, young lady? Says Abraham, with Alex quickly switching the lines back to all of them. Okay, there are 78 guards in the Coronal Palace, and we cannot kill any of them. Any more casualties than there already are, we will not be able to get the president to work with us on this. So do whatever you gotta do to get to him. Do whatever you got to do to stay alive, but no casualties. Responds Alex, with Abraham nodding his head. Understood. Very, very understood. I will take care of it, says Abraham as he raises his hands in the air and starts expanding heat from his body as heat comes from Abraham and fills the entire Coronal Palace, making it so hot that any metal is hot to the touch and will burn the very flesh of your hands off, with Howard, knowing Abraham's strategies and tactics, quickly puts his guns back in the holsters that he personalized to pad his hips and his legs from the burning metal of his guns, with all 78 guards not being able to hold their weapons or keep their weapons on them as they begin burning the skin off of their hands. They throw it down. Alrighty, now it's fisticuffs, it looks like, says Abraham as he rolls the sleeves of his suit up, with Abraham walking through the Coronal Palace, fighting every single guard that comes his way, as Howard popping his knuckles and getting far too excited. Alrighty, I love a good bar brawl, I love a good bout, and these guys are quite well trained, aren't they, Abraham, aren't they? Says Howard as he delivers a roundhouse kick to one of the guards, slamming them down into the ground, with Zorg taking out the majority of them by the pure brute force of his might, as they finally make their way to the main Red Room, the main office of the president. Howard kicks in the door as he walks to the desk of the president. Well, President Salad, how are you doing today? Says Howard, with the president standing up calmly and staring at Howard with a snarl. That is not how you pronounce my name, responds the president, with Abraham interluding. Oh yes, that is not how you pronounce your name. We're fully aware. You must forgive this mindless brute of ours. His name is Howard, and, well, he's jealous of anyone with a cool name, and he treats everyone disrespectfully, no matter their position of power, or their ranking, or their title. But I will provide you with the respect you deserve, President Sochion Michigal. And with that being said, President, we have an offer. We have something we must discuss with you, says Abraham as he walks around the desk of the president and begins playing with a small pen that was lying on the corner of the desk, with the president still standing, staring at now Abraham and Howard both. Really? You want to make a deal with me? You guys are what they call the Yin-Yangs, is that correct? Aye, quite it is. It is. Though it's a stupid name, it does resemble our unit. It does dissemble. It resembles our cause. Now, we are the little bit of evil in all good, and we are the little bit of good in all evil. We ensure that this world is perfectly balanced. We ensure that this world is perfectly aligned. And so, President, you have been a very bad person, and you have been making this very hard for us, haven't you? I do not know what you're talking about, responds the president, with Abraham giving him a smirk, and then followed up by a glare through the rim of his hat. Oh, but I believe you do. I believe you know exactly what we are talking about. You have sided with the human race, have you not? Which is perfectly fine. My comrades and myself do not judge any side that you may take. We do not judge anyone for deciding on any side. However, we do judge you when you choose a side and aren't even loyal to the side you have chosen. Because we know what you've been up to, President Serchian, or should I just go ahead and refer to you as Salad, since your respect is beginning to dwindle with me, says Abraham, with the president still standing confidently, and continues glaring at Abraham, while Howard begins to take a seat on the president's desk, knocking over many trinkets and papers as he does it. You see, Mr. President, the reason we have come here today is because the economy in every country is dwindling. Every country doesn't have money for gas or insurance or health care. Hell, the average Joe can't even take care of his own household due to the economic drop of this said damn darn war. However, your country, Mr. President, well, it's been thriving, hasn't it, boy? Says Howard, with the president then switching his glare to Howard, but as soon as he does, Abraham quickly continues. Yes, you have been able to keep the economy of Italy alive. And how have you been doing that? Well, it's simple, isn't it, Mr. President? Do you want to tell us just exactly what you have been doing? I don't need to say anything. I simply am doing what a good leader must do, making sure that my country, the people of my country, has full bellies and a full tank of gas. But the way you've been doing it, responds Abraham as he shakes his head. You have been making deals with the genetic blessing, the opposing side of humanity. You have been buying and dealing large amounts of drugs and large amounts of human trafficking through Vince Caballero. Maybe not through personally, but you have been doing it through his organizations. And since the only people now who are in charge of the underground are genetic blessings, since the only person that is the head of any black market dealings is Vince Caballero, then that can only mean one thing. You are a traitor. And if word gets out that you are a traitor, well, you will not have the support that you have now. No one will care that you've given them full bellies. No one will care that you have kept the lights of their homes on. As soon as they find out that you betrayed an entire race, the entire human race, they'll turn on you. You will be a dead man, won't you? Says Abraham, with the president now continuing his glare. And do you honestly believe that people are going to believe any of you guys over me? Do you guys honestly believe that anybody would believe the yin-yangs over a well-respected president? Says President Serchian with the utmost confidence. However, that confidence instantly vanishes, and his demeanor changes with the appearance of Walter as Walter walks into the office. Standing tall, he is at least 2 feet taller than everyone in the room and outweighs them by over 100 pounds as he confidently walks to the president with a combination of a calm yet confident demeanor while breathing incredibly heavily and snarling, yet his eyes remain calm as he stares down at the president. Nobody has to believe us. Nobody needs to believe anything. Do you understand that you have enemies? You have people that would like to replace you. You have people who are jealous of your success. They are jealous that they are constantly compared to you, yeah? They are always being compared to President Sanchion. Because you are so excellent, you're so amazing. Even if it wasn't true, a rumor like this would spread like a poison injected in your veins, yeah? And you want to try to and you want to try to tell us that we have nothing on you because no one will believe the yin-yangs, yeah? I strongly disagree with you on this. I think everyone strongly disagrees with you on this. And so, if we do not make a deal here today, we will inform the world of your betrayal to the entire human race. And those who are constantly competing with you, those who are compared to you, and those who want to see your throne burn, will make everyone else believe that you are a traitor because it benefits them, yeah? That's how politics works. That's how publicity works, and that's how the world has worked, has it not? Am I wrong, yeah? Tell me, am I wrong? Says Walter, with the president sitting down, realizing that Walter is absolutely correct. Fine. What kind of deal do you want to make? The deal. The deal, yeah. Tell me. Do you prefer whiskey on the rocks, or do you like it dry? I'm sorry? I'm asking you a question. How do you prefer your liquor? Do you prefer it on the rocks, or do you like it dry? I don't see. You're right, it doesn't matter. Your opinion on what kind of liquor and how you like it doesn't matter. Just like you needing to know the deal that we're about to make with you doesn't matter. So the second my friend here, Abraham, tells you what and how you can save face and keep this secret of yours in and under wraps, yeah, is only a courtesy. So, we will not be referring you to you as president or leader or master or even by your damn name, yeah? Because at this moment, yeah, you don't matter. The way you like your liquor, the way you like your whiskey, hell, the meat you like on your bread doesn't matter. You, in this moment, in this exact moment, do not matter. You are no longer worth the air you breathe, my friend. And so, we will make you a deal, and you will accept it, yeah? Because if you do not, we will gladly let the world tear you apart like savage animals, because that's exactly what you humans are. It's a race for power. It's a race for nobility. And you're at the top. And one word about your dealings with Vince Caballero will destroy it all. And so, you will sit down, you'll perk your ears up, and you will listen, yeah? to everything that Abraham is about to tell you. And I will sit here on this desk, hoping it doesn't break underneath my weight, and I will ensure that a handshake is dealt before I exit this room. Thank you, Walter. Very much obliged. Now, on with business, I suppose. 340,885 people are a part of the Italian army. So, that is quite the number. 97,087 people in the Navy, 29,511 people in the Air Force, 40,459 in the paramilitary, and 173,822 in the Carabineria, Guardia of the Finanze. Now, there's numbers. There's numbers would be great. Quite well. In the Yin Yangs. We actually have close to that number, but none that are firmly trained. We don't have that number in military or armed trained soldiers. We have that in only people who are desperate, genetic blessings and humans allied. We want Italy to be part of the Yin Yangs. We want to ally with you. And if you do that, you get to continue being the allies of the human race and of your fellow countries. And you still get to collect all the income you collect from the black market in the underground ran by Vince Caballero and the Genetic Blessings. Since you're already playing two sides of the card, I wouldn't think you'd mind being part of the Yin Yang, since that is already what we do. And when the time comes, you will not pick a side between Genetic Blessings or humanity. You will join the Yin Yangs. When the time comes to finally finish this war, you will join the Yin Yangs. And you will fight beneath our friend Walter here. How does that sound to you?
So, nothing will change for me until the end of the war. This 7-year-long war. You actually think it's going to end?
I do. I strongly believe it will. I have other sources. And we have a leader. The Yin Yang has a great leader, though he prefers his name not to be mentioned, and he prefers no one to know about him, so we're going to keep it that way. However, I do suggest, if you want to live, I do suggest that if you want your country to stay strong, you will join the Yin Yangs, for the Yin Yangs will be the only true victor in this war. The other two will become a stalemate, which is when the Yin Yangs will strike and prevail, allowing humanity and genetic blessings to coexist, meaning you can continue taking advantage of both sides for as long as you live. I say that is a very good bargain, unless you would rather, Walter here, do one of the two options: snap your neck right here before we leave, or inform the entire world of your treason, of your treachery, of your betrayal. So, what do you say? Would you like to shake hands on this bargain? Says Abraham as he extends his arm out. Meanwhile, Al sits on a cot in a tent in the middle of a battleground as rain pours down, and as he looks out in the field of the battleground, all he sees are dead bodies, the bodies of genetic blessings from the opposing side, and the bodies of the human race, his allies, his partners, all lying on the ground as the field is now nothing more than a garden of corpses as he drinks from a cheap bottle of vodka and suffers from all of the images and memories of this war that has lasted for 7 years, as he's consistently battling flashbacks from cars being thrown, the weather being manipulated, the earth itself being manipulated, with trees and rocks and mountains, and even the rivers becoming the weapons from the opposing side, as the only reason he has even managed to survive for as long as he has is the genetic blessing that lies within Excalibur. For if it wasn't for that sword, if it wasn't for that sword being able to think on its own and move on its own, Al would have been a dead man long ago. And even though it may seem unlogical, Al cannot give all the credit to the Blade of Excalibur, for most of the credit, almost all the credit, is given to the sacrifice of Jasmine, for he strongly believes that it was her sacrifice and her words to him that has allowed him, that has forced him to continue this fight and continue struggling to be alive. And even through all his injuries, he has become far, far more of a man than he ever was 7 or even 10 years ago, as his body has forged itself into the perfect warrior, and he has gained far more muscle mass than he originally had, though none of it matters to him. The only thing that truly matters to Al is seeing an end to this war and seeing Vince's and Jasmine's vision come to fruition. And he continues drinking out of the vodka bottle, waiting for the phone call that he has to wait for every night to talk to the one man that caused it all to happen, to talk to the one man that allowed Jasmine to die. He sits sipping on his vodka when the phone finally rings. Al reaches out and answers it. "Yep, Vince. What do you need, man? Tell me. What is the update?" "Al, my old friend. Well, there's a lot of good news today. Alex has just informed me that Italy will no longer be a problem. Italy is now part of the Yin Yangs, and as a result, they will no longer be affecting the war. We won't have to deal with their genetic blessings, and we won't have to deal with the rest of them. Meaning that the coexistence has finally started. The coexistence of genetic blessings and humanity is finally starting to pick up some traction. That's good to hear. Now on my side, hold on, Al, I have to inform you that one of my generals has planned an attack, and it takes place in New York, and if this attack goes smoothly, we will start gaining the upper hand, and this war will start waging on the side of genetic blessings. I must inform you of all the details." Alright, very well. And with that being said, I too have some information to tell you, says Al. And so, Vince and Al do what they have done for 7 years, as they inform each other of their sides and all the tactics of the side of their army, ensuring that each one of them will forever be stuck in an eternal stalemate until the Yin Yangs have finally taken over and won the war. And as they hang the phone, Al tries to sleep, fighting his way through all the images and flashbacks. As Vince hangs up the phone, he stands up and tucks on his suit and makes it tight, while then tightening the tie around him. For unlike Al, and unlike Alex, Howard, and the rest of them, he cannot sleep, for he is far too busy being the villain. The villain he has been since he could remember, since before the chief had even passed away, since before the passing of Jasmine. Vince has always played the role of the villain, for it seems like he has never been given any other role. He has never been given any other position, for every story needs a villain, and he has always been forced to be that villain as he walks through his HQ of the Genetic Blessings Underground. He has aged 7 years and is now in his 40s, as he no longer has a smoothly cut, clean-shaven face, as he has grown a beard, and his hair has become darker. And Vince has never understood why the color of his hair consistently changes, and he's never understood why over the 7 years his genetic force field consistently changes in color, and his power constantly changes. Though Vince has never been too worried about it, for he has always been the man with no limits. He's always been the man with no weakness. And though that is what people see, deep inside, Vince knows that his one true weakness is Alex. Though his relationship with her has been strained, for he hasn't seen Al or Alex in 7 years. Since he blew up the White House, he has only been able to talk to them over the phone, and even then, it has only been strictly business and information regarding the war. And Vince becomes saddened at the fact that the family he built is no longer a family, but only allies in this war that he had begun. But those feelings have no place in this story. Those feelings have no place in this war, and those feelings have no place for a villain. And a villain has no right to feel the way Vince feels. And so he keeps his shoulders rolled back and his head held high and his voice deep, and continues leading the Genetic Blessings in hopes that this war will eventually end. Meanwhile, Alex and the rest of the Yin Yangs have met back up in their hideout, with Abraham, Howard, and Zorg calling it a night. By time Alex has returned, Walter sits alone, like he always does, outside the hideout, with Alex sitting next to him and setting her head on his shoulders. "So, you guys did good," says Alex, with Walter nodding his head. "So, how's your genetic blessing? Did you have any issues trying to maintain it or keep it under control?" asks Alex, with Walter looking at her. I had no issues with it today. Though I do believe that it is eventually going to break free. And I'm afraid of what it might do. I'm afraid of what might happen when my genetic blessing finally releases itself. Though, I do believe it'll be alright, says Walter, with Alex staying quiet and only thinking, well, when do you think we should inform the others? When do you think that we should inform Vince about you being one of the other ones? I don't think it'd be wise. I do not believe it'd be wise to inform anybody, especially none of them, about the other ones. And I don't think it'd be wise to inform them that I am one of them, responds Walter, with Alex again staying quiet as she continues thinking. Meanwhile, Vince exits his HQ, and as he walks out of the HQ, he is suddenly struck by a hand that has morphed into a hammer right across the jaw. Before he has a chance to come down, he's struck by a different man who is covered in electricity as he is kicked in the stomach, forcing him to go down even more, with a third genetic blessing, a third man coming down that has increased his size and become a giant as he smashes his fist into the back of Vince, forcing Vince down to the ground. They then pick him up and hold him, containing him, with all three of them having him dead in their grasp. Vince looks at the three of them. What the hell are you doing? You are one of us. I'm your leader. What the hell is happening? Says Vince. However, a large group of genetic blessings quickly surrounds him as they all begin attacking Vince. Vince forces his force field to expand, blowing the genetic blessings away from him, with his force field being a bright purple and his hair becoming a bright silver. He begins, not knowing why, begins being forced to fight an army of genetic blessings with all sorts of power and all sorts of different levels, as he throws force field balls and wraps his body in the force field, striking every single one. Vince slowly starts getting overpowered by all of these genetic blessings that have decided to attack him. And Vince trying to reason with them. I don't want to hurt you. You are one of us. Why are you turning on me? Says Vince. However, there's a snap of the fingers by someone in the crowd, and all the genetic blessings stop attacking, and all the genetic blessings make way for a man that begins to walk towards Vince, and this man is no other than the Guardian. As the Guardian walks to Vince, you have betrayed the genetic blessings. I have presented all the proof I have needed. You have been giving information to the human race. You've been giving information to the enemies. You are a traitor, and your army, the genetic blessings, have decided that if you are going to side with the humans, if you are going to be their downfall, they want you gone, my friend, says the Guardian, with Vince clutching his jaw and grinding his teeth.
You son of a bitch. I will not stand down,
says Vince as he throws a massive punch towards the Guardian. However, the Guardian just raises 2 fingers, blocking Vince's punch easily. No, my friend, you will not be able to win this fight.
Shut the hell up,
says Vince as he throws another punch that the Guardian again easily blocks, as he then wraps his arm around Vince's arm and delivers a strike to the gut of Vince, shattering his force field and forcing Vince down to the ground, as the Guardian then grabs the skull of Vince and slams his head against his knee, slamming Vince down to the ground with a snapped nose and covered in blood. Vince stands up once again and begins throwing punch after punch towards the Guardian. However, the Guardian, even with the limp of his right leg, easily dodges and moves around every single one, and then throws one more punch to the chest of Vince, forcing Vince to fall to the ground once again. And now Vince is throwing up blood, but he forces himself up again and again and again, with every strike either missing or being blocked by the Guardian, and every strike the Guardian throws is unblockable, undodgeable, with Vince repeatedly being slammed to the ground. Vince tries to stand one last time, but cannot gather the strength he needs as he falls to the ground. The Guardian limps towards Vince and grabs him by the hair and pulls him up. And then, while holding Vince, he extends his arms out to the crowd of genetic blessings. They have chosen me, Vince. They are now my army, and you are their enemy. And what do they want done with their enemy? Their traitor? The leader that was willing to let so many of them die? They want you gone, says the Guardian as he throws Vince into the crowd, with 3 genetic blessings grabbing Vince and dragging him across the streets by his arms as his knees are dragged through the pavement, with Vince not even being able to keep his head up, is drugged to a large spike, a large spear sticking out of the ground, with the Guardian walking around Vince. They used to call me the Impaler, Dracula the Impaler. Do you know why? I do believe it is obvious, Vince. Al is then woken up by the phone ringing, and as he forces himself out of his drunken sleep, he answers the phone. Yes, Vince? What is it now? No, it is not your friend. It is me, Al. It is the Guardian, and I have come to intervene. I wanted to inform you that your enemy is no longer your friend. Your enemy is now me. The leader of Genetic Blessings is me. Wait, hold on. What? Hold on. Wait. What? Where's Vince? What happened to Vince? Don't worry about Vince. He is no longer a part of the equation. He is no longer any of your concern. And I am doing this only as a courtesy, only as a favor. Because if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for any of you, this opportunity would have never presented itself. So, hear this as my only warning to you, Al. I am now your enemy, and this war is about to begin for real. There is no more playing both sides. There's no more knowing what our next move will be. And the genetic blessings will become victorious in this war, says the Guardian. As Al then hears a click on the other line, he stares at the phone, frightened, realizing that something had happened to Vince, and the Guardian of all genetic blessings, is now his enemy. He begins to shake so badly that he can't even keep grasp on the phone as it falls to the ground, and sweat begins flooding the cot as Al is truly terrified at what this means. And as he finally manages to gain back composure, he struggles to pick the phone back up off the ground, and quickly calls Alex and informs Alex that the Guardian is now the leader of genetic blessings, and in the words of the Guardian, Vince is no longer a part of the equation, and Alex breaks down as she falls to her knees, screaming, imagining the worst of the worst, with, of course, the rest of the hideout hearing her screams. Abraham, Howard, Zorg, and Walter quickly run to her aid, though she cannot respond when they ask her what's wrong. She cannot even say the unthinkable, that Vince is gone. With the Guardian walking down a flight of stairs from seemingly nowhere to seemingly nowhere, as he walks and walks and walks down these flight of stairs that seem to exist literally in the middle of nothingness, as he finally approaches a black door that isn't attached to a building or a room, but is just in darkness. As the Guardian enters, there are many capsuled rooms down a large hallway, and the Guardian walks down this capsuled room and peeks in the window of one of them and sees his old friend Von Helsing, otherwise known as the Chief, who is living a false, fake, imprisoned life with his family, as a fake-generated life has been put on repeat for him to live the life he had always wanted to live. And the Guardian smiles at it and continues walking through the hallway. As he approaches a door, he opens it, and as he walks into the door, Vince sits on a bed, staring at the Guardian. Why did you not kill me?
Why did you not put me on that spear? Why? Dracula, am I not impaled?
Says Vince, with the Guardian smiling at him and kneeling down. It is simple. If they would allow me to kill you, I would have. Unfortunately, you are one of the other ones.
What do you mean? One of the other whats? What other ones?
See, that's a question that absolutely must be answered. But I don't feel like answering it right now. So, with that being said...
No. Guardian, Dracula, whatever fucking name you go by. What do you mean by me being one of the other ones?
Yes, you see, I figured it out. I remember watching you fight Frost when you thought Alex had died. You showed that day that you were no ordinary genetic blessing. You were another one of us. You were one of the other ones.
That doesn't explain anything. What is the other one, and why does it make you not be able to kill me? And when you say they, who the hell do you mean?
Don't worry about it, Vince. Just know that you are in my eternal prison. And with that being said, the second I become ruler of your world, the second the human race is eradicated, there will be no authority over me. And as soon as they are all dead, I will then kill you. I will murder you, because you are far too naive, far too dangerous to be left alive, says the Guardian, with Vince now standing up and walking towards him, still bloodied, still with broken bones.
If you do not kill me now, it will be the greatest mistake you've ever made.
I disagree with that, Vince, but do keep holding on hope. It'll make your time in here last much faster, says the Guardian as he slams the door on Vince and leaves the room. And that is Genetic Wars Chapter 1, and I will be continuing it in Genetic Wars Chapter 2, and if you have listened for this long, and if you guys enjoyed it, please do consider hitting the like and subscribe button, and thank you very much for listening. It means a lot to me, it really does. So, with that being said, do not get by Meteor, take care of yourselves, and bye.